Sports always give us incredible moments, whether it's because of the athlete's insane skills or because of situations that are completely out of the ordinary. Sometimes, people get so caught up in the competitive spirit that they overdo the celebration, the reaction, or even the fights on the field, and the result can be hilarious, impressive, or simply unbelievable. And that is exactly what you are going to see here today. So go ahead and leave your like, click below on the subscribe button, and let's go. Tonya Harding is a figure who divided public opinion, becoming one of the biggest names in American sports, but also one of the biggest symbols of controversy. Her story is marked by an incident that shook the world of figure skating, involving her rival, Nancy Kerrigan, and a conspiracy that resulted in a brutal attack on Kerrigan before the Winter Olympic Games of 1994. In January of that year, Nancy Kerrigan was attacked with a metal baton while preparing for a practice session. The blow was strong enough to knock her out of the national championships and put her participation in the Olympic Games at risk. However, fortunately for Kerrigan, her injuries were not as serious as feared. She managed to recover and went to the Olympics, where she won the silver medal. But what seemed like an isolated accident soon turned into something much more complex and dark. The truth behind the attack gradually came to light. Tonya Harding's husband, Jeff Gillooly, and her bodyguard, Sean Eckhart, were behind the plan to attack Nancy. Although Harding always denied her direct involvement, it became clear that she knew about the conspiracy but did not alert the authorities. This led to her permanent suspension from skating and the loss of titles, including her national championship. Tonya Harding, who until then had been a talented athlete, the first American to land a triple axel, saw her career crumble. Even so, she walked away from the ice and used her fame to pursue new paths. She participated in television shows and attempted a brief boxing career, although without much success. But her problems did not end there. Over the years, Harding also faced legal issues, including domestic violence charges, and remained a widely discussed name in the media. Over time, Harding's image came to be interpreted in different ways. For many, she continues to be the villain of the story, the woman who, in some way, was involved in the attempt to sabotage another athlete's career. However, there are those who see her as a victim, due to the immense pressure to succeed, the domestic violence she suffered, and the circumstances that led her to take part in such a serious scheme. American culture, with its fascination for scandals, fueled the cycle of judgment and defense surrounding Tonya. In 2017, Tonya Harding's story was portrayed in the film I, Tonya, starring Margot Robbie, which brought a new perspective on the skater, showing not only her sports career but also the personal and family challenges she faced throughout her life. The film, which became a critical success, helped reveal a new layer of her story, making many reconsider the way she was viewed in the years following the incident. But how about you? Is she a victim or a villain? At the European Athletics Championship, the Swede Jesper Hellström did something that nobody expected to see at a high-level competition. He literally flew to the side during the triple jump. After qualifying for the final with a jump of 16.07 meters, Jesper tried to improve his mark but ended up losing his balance in a very unusual way. On his second jump, he lost balance already on the second step, and instead of landing in a conventional way, he took a leap and fell in almost a comical style. But instead of getting upset, Jesper just laughed it off. It was impossible not to laugh along. The video went viral, and people on social media did not hold back, with many comparing Jesper's gaffe to other crazy jumps from past competitions, even calling it the jump of the century. Luckily, the Swede recovered and delivered a good jump on his third attempt at 16.27 meters, but the damage was already done. That hilarious moment stole the show. Jesper even joked that he already suspected this jump would generate some funny images. And who would have thought the guy managed to win over the crowd with his good humor, even without pulling off the best mark of his life? Now that is sportsmanship. In a cycling race, a lapse in judgment cost Jamie Wilkins the victory. With the finish line in sight, the British cyclist, overcome with excitement, raised his arms in celebration, thinking he had already secured first place. However, that split second of distraction was enough for his rival, Jamie Penton, to overtake him and cross the finish line first, clinching the top spot. The incident, caught on camera, quickly spread on social media, sparking plenty of comments. Wilkins, upon reviewing the footage, acknowledged his mistake without hesitation. Though he was embarrassed by the situation, he chose to take it lightly, reminding everyone that at the end of the day, it was just a sports competition and that the important thing was to move on. Tennis is a sport full of epic moments, and some of them happen completely by surprise. That is exactly what went down at Indian Wells in 2015, when Marty Fish found himself in a situation that drew laughs from the crowd. During a point against Ryan Harrison, Fish was running desperately to hit the ball with his racket. He even got to the ball, but there was just one small problem. The net was in his way. The result? He could not stop in time and literally ran over the net, falling in a way that looked more like a comedy scene than a professional tournament. Of course, the crowd loved the moment, reacting with that mix of surprise and amusement. Fish himself, although frustrated by the mistake, took it in stride. After all, who has never gotten excited and taken one step further than necessary? If you thought only horses were used in races, it is time to learn about one of the wackiest sports in the world, ostrich racing. Yes, these giant birds, which do not fly but run as if they were escaping their own fate, are the stars of competitions brimming with speed and fun. The idea of riding ostriches and making them race is not so new. It all began in Africa, where these animals have always been part of everyday life. The tradition eventually crossed the ocean and reached the United States, where the race became an attraction at equestrian events. Since then, ostrich races have taken place in different parts of the world, always delivering hilarious moments. After all, anyone who has tried to ride one of these birds knows that they are not exactly predictable. If there is an animal ready for racing, it is the ostrich. They can reach an astounding 70 kilometers per hour, keeping an average speed of 50 kilometers per hour without much effort. For comparison, the 100-meter sprint world record belongs to Usain Bolt, who reached 44 kilometers per hour at the peak of his career. In other words, Bolt would lose badly to an ostrich on a running track. Besides speed, these birds have super long legs and incredibly strong muscles, allowing each stride to cover an impressive distance. And there is more. Even though they do not fly, they use their wings like a rudder to change direction without losing their balance. It is basically a Formula One car with feathers. Rules vary depending on the event, but generally, the competitors ride on the ostriches and try to hold on while the birds zoom around the track. Yes, they try, because most of the time you see the participants tumbling to the ground in the very first meters, which, let's be honest, is the most entertaining part for the spectators. In the United States, events like the Ostrich Festival and other races draw crowds eager to see these feathered speedsters in action. One funny detail, many ostriches get goofy names like Feather Duster or She's Got Legs. Not every ostrich is fit to compete. The best breed for racing is the blackneck, known for its strength, endurance, and somewhat less aggressive temperament. After all, nobody wants to be attacked by a giant bird in the middle of a race, right? If, after learning about ostrich racing, you are still not impressed, know that there are also camel races in the Middle East and even competitions with pigs and snails around the world. Humankind truly has no limits when it comes to inventing new ways to race. In soccer, we have seen it all: lightning-fast goals, pitch invasions, and even unexpected blackouts. But one match in the Emirates FA Cup managed to surprise everyone in an unusual way right at kickoff. The stadium's sprinkler system was activated at the exact moment the referee blew the whistle, soaking the players and leaving everyone stunned. It felt like a prank. As soon as the ball started rolling, water jets began blasting across the field, catching everyone off guard. Players tried dodging the sprays, while the referee paused the match to sort out the mess. It is still unclear whether it was a technical error or a scheduling glitch in the stadium's automatic system. The fact is that no one expected a surprise shower right in the first second of the game. After a few minutes of confusion, the match resumed normally, but the moment had already gone down in history as one of the strangest kickoffs ever. After this, the players definitely could not complain about a dry pitch. The story of Anita Alvarez at the World Championships in artistic swimming was one of the most intense and worrying moments in the history of the sport. During her solo routine, what seemed like another amazing performance suddenly turned into a nightmare. While the crowd was clapping, mesmerized by her routine, Anita simply collapsed underwater. Alarm bells rang immediately when her coach realized something was wrong and quickly dove in to rescue her. What happened next was a scene of pure concern and fear. The coach pulled Anita to the surface, trying to revive her while emergency crews stood by, ready to help. The speed with which the coach made the decision to jump into the pool showed how serious the situation was. The athlete was not breathing, her body nearly lifeless due to the blackout caused by lack of oxygen. The venue fell silent, with everyone hoping she would recover soon. The fact that she had to be taken out of the water on a stretcher was a clear sign that it was a very tense moment. This incident shed light on the risks that artistic swimmers face. The sport requires athletes to hold their breath for long periods while performing acrobatic moves and complex choreography. When competing, the pressure to excel is massive, and the danger of pushing the body's limits is always present. Athletes often fight through extreme fatigue and the risk of fainting while submerged. Anita's case was a stark reminder of what can happen when athletes push themselves to the limit. They train for hours on end, repeating the same movements and perfecting their routines, but the human body has its boundaries. The goal is always to give your best, to go that extra step during a performance, but sometimes your body says no. The physical exertion in artistic swimming is enormous, a combination of endurance, flexibility, strength, and breath control. Additionally, Anita's coach, who had already experienced tough times in her career, shared her view on the danger of seeing a teammate or athlete in trouble in the water. Claudia Holzner, a former athlete and now a coach, talked about the fear of having to rescue someone right after your own routine. That feeling of desperation and tension is not uncommon in a sport where the line between a flawless performance and imminent danger can be quite thin. Even though the situation was terrifying, Anita recovered fully after the incident, but the scare was huge. The adrenaline of competition, the pressure to impress the audience, and the chase for a medal can lead athletes to ignore their own body's signals. Anita Alvarez's experience was a wake-up call for everyone in the sport, reminding us that behind the grace and beauty in the water, there is a significant risk for the athlete, and that safety and support are crucial during training and performances. The Challenger of Charlottesville, an intermediate-level tennis tournament, witnessed a controversial moment that ended up costing the American Michael M. Mo dearly. During a match against Bahamian player Darian King, Mo lost his temper after a point and, in a fit of rage, threw his racket at the backdrop, but accidentally hit the line judge.
Wow. Oh no. Okay, I think we're done.
Everyone was shocked, including King, who had been getting ready to continue playing. However, Momo's mistake had immediate consequences. He was disqualified from the tournament, and his opponent advanced by default. On top of being ejected, Momo might face further punishment, like fines or even a suspension from upcoming tournaments, depending on the organizer's decision. The incident underscored the importance of self-control in sports, especially in tennis, where the psychological aspect can be decisive. Even seasoned players have struggled to handle frustration during matches. Incidents like this are not common, but when they do happen, penalties are tough, like immediate disqualification, to prevent aggressive behavior from becoming the norm. On the 6th of October of 2012, the fighter Jens Pulver returned to One Fighting Championship to compete in the Bantamweight Grand Prix. His opponent was Zhao Yafei, a promising Chinese fighter. The fight was balanced, but everything changed in the third round with a strike that left many wondering, was it an accident or was it intentional? Pulver ended up receiving a low blow, right where nobody wants to be hit. The pain was so overwhelming that he could not go on. Since the fight had already passed the second round, the judges scored it up to that point and awarded Pulver the win by technical decision. We may never know whether Zhao Yafei landed that strike by mistake or if it was a dirty move to try and shift the fight. But one thing is certain, Pulver came out victorious, even though it was in a most unpleasant way. NASCAR has already been the stage for many rivalries and tense moments, but what happened at Richmond International Raceway on the 30th of March of 2024 was beyond unusual. Driver Joey Gase, furious after a crash with Dawson Cram, put on a bizarre display. He tore the bumper off his own car and hurled it at his rival as he passed by on the track. It all started when Gase, running far behind the leaders, was hit by Cram in the first turn and ended up crashing in the second. Out of the race and clearly angry, he decided to wait for his rival and threw the car part in his direction, in an act of pure frustration. Even with Gase's attempted payback, Dawson Cram kept on racing, while Joey Gase placed 34th and had to abandon the race. On social media, Gase still made fun of the situation, posting a photo and writing, "Thank you, Dawson Cram. I hope you enjoy your souvenir." The incident quickly went viral, sparking debate among fans about the driver's behavior. Meanwhile, Chandler Smith took the win, followed by Arik Almirola and Taylor Gray. But in the end, it was the scuffle that stole the spotlight, becoming one of the most unexpected NASCAR moments in recent times. Do not forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.